So I'll kind of do a quick little intro here for our video folks.
Hey, Phil, is Maz on the tonight,
He's not on tonight. Nope.
No, he's not. Okay.
He is not. Mr. Nebraska.
And do I sound okay tonight?
You sound good?
Stuttering, apparently.
By the way,
other than the
Serena,
stuttering, if you can fix that, we'd be good. We're golden.
Serena, I really, really like your likeness of Helen Hunt in that Twister poster.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah.
That whole thing was so awesome. I saw that. I don't remember where I was, but my jaw dropped. I was like, these guys are amazing. This is so cool.
All right, so hey, if you happen to be joining us on the video, whether it's live or you're streaming this after the fact, welcome. This is Stormfront Freaks podcast, but we call it Stormfront Freaks Raw because this is the raw recording of the show. We're recording episode 157 with Erik Fox tonight. But we call it raw because it's recording. This is everything, right? We don't stop and pause. We don't edit this. It is everything, all the in-between breaks, all the actual raw cuss words will not be beeped out. MJ asked me not to have a lot of those tonight since he's not here to write down when they happen. So I will do my best and make sure we try not to do that. And I guess we have kids watching too, right, Erik? So we gotta be careful. I will say this: we do not. This is our disclaimer. We do not advertise our show as a family show. Or not the raw version, the edited podcast, audio podcast that we usually edit and release the following Sunday. You can find that at stormfrontfreaks.com, all your favorite podcast players. That is edited. So if you'd rather listen to that, you're welcome to do so. All right. So I told you guys Brady's coming a little late. But I think we will. Anybody have any questions for the most part? We good? I think everybody sounded good. So what we'll do is I'm going to do a quick kind of pre-tease for the front end of the show. And then we'll come back and I'll do the official opening. We'll introduce the team, find out what everybody's drinking tonight. And then Serena, you've got Erik's intro.
I do.
So you ready with that? Okay.
Good to go.
And you can start with the first question and the goal tonight. So if you don't know Erik, and obviously I hope you read his bio, but so he's a chaser. He's also a law enforcement police officer, and he's big background in search and rescue and other stuff. So the focus I'd like to be tonight is on storm chaser safety. And obviously I've got some questions and things, but you guys can fire away at least until after the break, and then I can come in and do some of the questions I had. But that's the focus. But if you got other questions for Erik, certainly welcome to do that, because Erik's got a breadth of a lot of different things in his history that I'm sure he can talk about. So.
Phil, just before we get to the actual intro and stuff, I do have a question, Erik, but before I ask it we're actually recording. Do you know anything about? Do you remember in 2016 there was a storm chaser that got arrested in Colorado for impersonating a police officer? Do you know much about that incident?
I do, and it's something I'm going to talk about tonight, which it had a lot to do about the vehicle and the lighting.
Okay, cool.
The impersonation. So yeah, I don't know what the final verdict was but I'm familiar with the situation, and it's really leading into what I'm going to hit hard on tonight. So
do you mind do you mind? Can I ask you that question as part of the shtick, and that'll be a great segue.
Yep, that'll be a great lead into that part of what I was going to talk about with the
and what it was. I correct it. It was 2016.
I believe it was, because I want to say I was chasing with Jeff when all that was going on. So yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I thought there was another one this year though that I had heard about as well. Was impersonating a National Weather Service government employee.
Yeah.
Similar thing. Had all that kind of stuff, and was parading. Got pulled over. And said he was, I'm doing work for the National Weather Service, blah, 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 and got arrested for that too. So very similar.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and I'm going to talk about it. Yeah.
Good.
All right, so we got Steve Collier's on the other end. Steve, what's up? We got Josh Burnham is here as well. So those guys are in our chat. All right, you guys ready? All right.
Yep.
I have one question. So we do like a
Yes.
what are you drinking thing, Eric? I don't know if you have a beverage.
Water.
You got water. So maybe I won't ask what you're drinking.
That's fucking exciting.
It's the whole police officer persona thing. I got to be careful. So.
I understand. So that's why I wanted to ask first.
There's a reason for everything, isn't there? Yeah. All right. We'll jump our VIPs back. We'll bring you guys back during the break. And so MJ's not here. My skills at running this video portion is going to kind of suck, but we'll give it a shot at some point. All right, you guys ready? All right, so here comes the tease. 3, 2. Hey, Storm Freaks, it's Phil, and every year around this time, we always see or hear of storm chasers that weren't following the guideline of chasing safe. So we're going to talk about these incidents. All right, MJ. I'm already putting him to work, and he's not here. Second take. I got to tell him this crap. 25. All right. 3, 2. Hey, Storm Freaks, it's Phil, and every year around this time, we always see or hear of some storm chasers that weren't following the guideline of chasing safe. So we're going to be talking about these incidents and what it takes to be recognized as a safe chaser with police officer and storm chaser Erik Fox. And we've also got our hashtag WeatherFools and another edition of Storm Chasing Games Gone Wild. It's all coming up on episode 157 of the Stormfront Freaks. You know, here's what's funny. I was thinking this the other day, how awkward it is for me to try and have any energy like right there when I'm doing that intro. And it always sounds great once it's edited and you get the rock music coming in and all that crap.
It does.
But it's always hard to do that when we're like 3, 2. All right, let's get rolling here. And hey, I want to, would you guys, if you have to be my MJs, if you hear me clicking or popping like my audio bad or anything like that, it most likely would come up as we start sharing Weather Fools. Like, let me know. Okay, feel free to stop me because we can edit this stuff, right? And let me know if you hear that, okay? All right, Eric, you ready to roll, buddy?
Let's go.
Do you know what you got yourself into tonight?
I'm looking forward to it. Yes.
Good.
If Greg's involved, I can only imagine.
All right, I'm going to up your mic settings just a little bit here.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. 3, 2. Hey, welcome everybody to the most entertaining weather podcast. This is the award-winning Stormfront Freaks podcast. Hey, thanks to our Patreon members that help support the show, including new member Jamie Lambert and others joining us live tonight on the stream. So I know we've got Steve is there, Josh is there, and then we also have our VIPs back in the green room that are actually in the studio with us. Dan, Angela, and Garrett are here. So you can also join our Patreon team and be live in the chat or on the show with our guests every single episode we record. So find the link at stormfrontfreaks.com. The fun part about this, I mentioned this, a couple episodes ago, that pretty much the only time I get to drink is every other Thursday night with my freak friends. So part of that's probably just because I'm getting old, but it's always happy hour every time we record. And so we're going to find out what everybody's drinking tonight and helps us introduce the co-hosts that happen to be with us this evening as well. So I am going to start with Serena, our former meteorologist at the Mount Washington Observatory. Serena, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking a beer, very surprising to all of you. It is called Everyday Fog, to continue on the weather theme.
I don't know how you find these things, Serena, but wow.
I'm in a little bit of a panic. This is the last one I have on the shelf. So,
well, it's good that it's good we're all going to be together for the next episode live.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh.
that
We're
might
going to
be
be
your
storm
escape.
chasing. We're going to be
That might be
storm
your
chasing.
escape.
Awesome. It's gonna be
And
great.
I feel like a lot of what's going to happen tonight, Phil, is gonna frame how we storm chase in
It
a
could
couple
be.
weeks from now.
Could be. I saw the tropical storm sneaking in on the GFS again. Did you guys notice that?
Looking out at a 300
Yeah, it's
hour
always
GFS.
fun. All right, Greg Johnson, our storm chaser and photographer up in Canada. What are you drinking, sir?
Well, okay. Listen, it's pretty simple, but my inspiration here comes from something I found in the deep South last time I was down in the States, and that is peanut butter whiskey.
Oh, nice.
I know, Serena.
What?
Same. Yeah, I know, peanut butter whiskey, but it's freaking delicious. I got a little Coke in there, mixed it with, and it's a great sipping whiskey. But now sipping whiskey, I've had 4. But I'm not driving, Eric. Eric, I am not driving tonight anywhere.
Hey, you're in Canada. There's nothing I can do. I'm just saying.
That's true. Off limits. Different laws up there, right?
Yeah.
All right, Serena. Let's go ahead and get to our guest.
Yeah, absolutely. So Erik Fox is a retired U.S. Army tactical weather NCO and reconnaissance soldier. He currently serves as an on-air field correspondent for Weather Nation TV and a police officer in Oklahoma, where he has been involved in numerous large-scale disaster search and rescue operations. Erik has been storm chasing since 1999 and is the founder of the National Storm Chaser Summit. So, Erik, thanks for joining us. And first of all, thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome.
Second thing, 1999, Oklahoma. Makes me think of May.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Connect the dots for me. Tell me about that first chase.
And I was not there. So, unfortunately, my parents, I was just, 17 years old, had a fresh license, and they were like, you're not leaving anywhere outside of town, which I lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at the time. They're like, if it's outside of Dallas-Fort Worth, you're not going. So, but there was a storm that year that hit Fort Worth. And in the next year, the 2000 Fort Worth tornado, which went through downtown. And those were really what hooked me. I was in high school and was able to drive and within driving distance. And those were my first storms. My first tornado, though, actually was the 1995 Pampa tornado. And that was just by chance with my father going to work. And it kind of hooked me into meteorology and weather since a kid. And then when I moved into the Metroplex area, I was able to storm chase. I did the typical thing of, hey, find a National Weather Service Skywarn training, and that's where I started, and was hooked ever since. And that's when I started. And I can honestly say I remember seeing the updrafts from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, looking north into Oklahoma on May 3rd, 1999, and crying because I couldn't be there. But in a way, I'm kind of glad I wasn't there based on the devastation all across Oklahoma, not just the Moore area.
Well, Erik, listen, you said 17, right? So
Yep.
Is it fair to say, like a lot of us, you got into storm chasing because of the ladies? Like you just knew that that was the thing that would impress the ladies, was the storm knowledge and the weather models. And
well, if it's anything like it is still today, my wife tells me to shut up when I even start talking about weather. And yeah, just about everybody in high school. I played high school football, tried to play college football, wasn't very good, but it was one of those things that I try to start talking about weather about the game day, and then people will just be like, Erik, shut up. Like, stop talking about weather. Like nobody cares, kind of one of those things. Kind of like, probably the rest of us. So.
Right on. So you said you played a little bit of football.
Yep.
And how, like, what was the trend? Like, what was the transition that got you from being on the sports field to, reading weather models? I mean, that seems like a weird transition.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of it's a story of my generation, to be honest with you. I walked on at TCU trying to play football. I was a good high school football player, went to TCU thinking, hey, I can do this. And then I was taking some science classes and really trying, and then realizing how much math was involved. I wanted to go to meteorology program, realizing football is probably not my path. And so it was just an easy transition. And then a date that, of course, will always live in infamy, September 11th, 2001. It was one of those things, wake up, go to class. Next thing you know, everybody's running to the TV. Oh my God, 9/11 just happened. I went directly to the recruiting station, quit everything I was doing. I've always been a service before self person, which also goes into stuff I'm going to talk about later, is, not being selfish in life. But just made a decision. I was like, I'm joining the military, and I joined the Army, and that's where it started. And went to the recruiter and said, "Hey, what do you have?" And they were like, "Well, you know what's going on. We got infantry, and you can be a scout, which is reconnaissance, in the Army." And so that's what I signed up to be, as a scout. 19 Delta is what they call it. So I signed up. Teenager, 19 years old. 9/11's going on. It's just time to go to war and serve for my country. And that's where we started. That's where I started that transition. But I never loved or stopped the love for weather. So a lot of it was self-taught in that time frame. I was taking some classes still while I was in the military. I mean, that's the one thing about the military, the U.S. military, is they will pay for you to go to college. So I continued, my education when I was in Iraq. I was taking classes in Iraq. Combat one day, classes the next. I mean, it's just one thing that the government does. So Iraq, Afghanistan was like that. They had education programs. Of course, we had internet starting to evolve at that time frame that allowed for it. So that's where we started. That's where I started. And then I just started taking science classes. And then in 2008, I'd had multiple deployments. I'd been in the Army. I was on another deployment to Iraq, and I got hurt. I don't really talk about it much, but it changed my career path from what I was doing. And so I was like, I had my enough science courses, enough math courses. Afghanistan was starting to ramp up, and the Army said, "Hey, we need this specialty. We need these tactical weather operators." The Air Force already has them, and they mainly go, at your 500 millibar level, the flight pass down, it's the 750s. That's where the Air Force kind of pays attention, but nobody talks about the mesoscale at the ground and in the mountains.
So are you talking about, like, for example, the wind and affecting, like, for example, tailwinds, headwinds, that kind of thing?
Yeah, the Air Force kind of does that, right? They're at that level with the Air Force where they're kind of on a bigger scale. A good friend of mine, Kendra Sand, that's part what she does. She teaches the military that the flight side of things and of the weather ops. You think about Southwest, American Airlines, stuff like that. Yeah, they're trying to save fuel. They're trying to be safe, stuff like that. In the Army, we don't really have fixed wing aircraft. We have rotary aircraft. So when you're going up and down the mountains of Afghanistan, you have different weather that's, down to the, to the 1 mile to the next mile may be different. So part of my job was working with units to making sure if they needed rotary. We were doing small weather balloon operations. We were just doing, small data, and so that's how I got more kicked into the weather again in the Army, which is kind of cool. I mean, they still do it. It's based out of Fort Sill. Their weather training for the Army is based out of Fort Sill. A lot of our stuff comes out of the Navy. The Naval Academy puts out they, believe it or not, they generate a lot of the meteorology in the military. So it's great. I know there's several meteorologists that actually come out of the Air Force and the Navy. And the Navy is kind of transitioning to more a civilian side, but they're putting them out there now into the National Weather Service, directly out of service, from service into the National Weather Service, continuing federal service. So I didn't do that. I chose a different path. I got forced retired in 2016. My body just started giving out on me. And so I had been a reserve police officer in Waurika, Oklahoma, during that time frame while I was at Fort Sill. Of course, I think everybody here knows something about Waurika. I'm sure we've all drove through it at one point, and
you bet.
You blink and you miss it, kind of deal. So,
yeah.
Or had me on the side of the road trying to pull people chasers over. But I was reserving, and then in 2016 I was forced retired, and then I became a full-time law enforcement officer, but I also had a great opportunity with Weather Nation TV, who brought me on as a field correspondent. And I was able to chase, and I'm still chasing with them. And although I will say this, they don't like us to use the word chase, but I do a lot of field corresponding and reporting for them, including being stuck on St. Thomas during Hurricane Irma for 2 weeks. That was a lesson learned of preparedness, because I had nothing. So it's something I'm going to talk about on this podcast is, that preparation. And I learned it from the Army from day one, is to over prepare. You never know when you may need something.
Okay, I got to get into this, Eric. So 2016, there was an incident where a storm chaser in Colorado was arrested for impersonating a police officer.
Yeah.
I think the entire community went, "What the hell is going on?" Give us your take on that situation. You obviously know about it.
Yeah. All right. So what I'm going to say right now is I'm going to be brutally honest in this whole situation. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest. And so whatever I say, just know my employers. I do not represent my employers right now for what I'm about to say. Just got to put that out. They're stupid. Anybody who wants to put yourself in a position to impersonate a police officer, there's nobody at fault but yourself. There's no reason to run red and blue lights. There's no reason to try to pull anybody over, and there's no reason to try to help somebody that doesn't need to be helped. And I'll get more into this in a little while. But in that case and situation, that's what it was. Was there maybe some misinterpretation of what they were trying to do? Probably. Was there intent to try to be a police officer? No. But when you run red and blues in a state that you don't know the law, you're opening up your self-interpretation for that law enforcement officer to make a decision. And when that law enforcement officer makes that decision, your choice is out the window, regardless of what it is. It's up to that individual. So I go back to all this. It's self-decisions that have to be made, not only for you, but the public. So you're in the middle of a storm, you're running red and blues. Somebody pulls over in a ditch because they think you're going to an emergency. That's not okay, because I see it all the time when I'm running code to somewhere. I hardly run code anywhere anymore because the way people react on the roads. Not to mention, if you're in the rain, as we all know, and you guys can attest to this, these flashing lights in the rain as you're trying to move are more dangerous than they are just turning them off and driving down the road. And I'll get into some laws of Texas and Oklahoma where I've been a police officer that says you can't do that. And so
you're just to be clear, Eric, you're not talking only about reds and blues. Like anytime you got these, bright flashing lights, it makes people think there's some sort of emergency that maybe they're unaware of.
Yep. And it's not. Most storm chasers are okay. Well, that's a chaser. Well, what about the general public, guys? We're not the only ones out there, and so they think, oh, there's an emergency. I got to pull over. Well, next thing you know, they're pulling over for you, but you're running from the tornado, and they get hit by the tornado because you make them pull over, right? And so this is my thought process. So, you've got to think more than yourself in this situation. So you're running red and blues, and all of a sudden, all these cars stop, and then the actual ambulance behind you can't move because everybody's stopped because they're pulling over for you. That's just one incident I've seen of people not using those lights properly. Now, there is situations, I should say. I don't want to get into specifics of things I know, but there are situations where they will come in handy when you're pulled over on the side of a road and you don't want to get hit. That's different because you're not moving. Nobody's saying that you can't use amber lights. I'm not saying you shouldn't use amber lights, but you've got to make choices and know the state laws that you're in, because there's states out there that we chase in that does not allow any lights. Period.
Right.
And you're making that law enforcement officer make a decision.
What do you know about red and blue lights, Eric? What states? Because to me, the biggest issue as a chaser is not the amber. I get it, right? They're gonna have it, but at least I know if I see that behind me, I know it's probably a chaser or it's a tow truck or something. They don't probably need me to pull over. But it's when I see those red and blues behind me and I have no idea because it's so bright if it's truly law enforcement or someone that needs to get by me. And so I of course I'm going to pull over, and then I see him go by and I realize it's a freaking chaser. So do you know which states have laws that say you cannot run the red and blues?
Every state in this nation, unless you're a firefighter or a police officer or emergency manager, does not let you run red and blues. Those are for first responders only. Now, I say this, there are a few chasers that I know who are emergency management and are volunteer firefighters that are allowed to run red and blues because they're firefighters. In the state of Texas and the state of Oklahoma, you are allowed to run red and blues. And most of the time, because they're allowed to use their personal vehicle to go to those calls. So I will say that there are some times that you will see that, and that's probably what that is, well, oh, that's a chaser. Well, no, that's probably a volunteer firefighter going to a wreck or spotting and using the red and blues to spot. But if they get pulled over, they're going to get asked for those credentials. If I'm that individual pulling that car over, running red and blues, they're going to provide some sort of credential for that situation. So that's, yes and no. That is a great question, but that's usually what you're seeing there is a volunteer or emergency manager in their own POV. There are situations. I know of a situation in 2010 that I got involved with in Central Texas over a chaser running red and blues, and they went to jail because in Texas they don't play. I mean, if you're impersonating a police officer, that's the same thing as me putting on my car as a civilian and pulling a car over. Yeah, you're not pulling them over, but it's the same concept. And that's
so, Eric, is it a misdemeanor? Is it a felony? What is it?
It's a felony.
Really?
Yeah, wow. It is a felony. And if you're reckless driving with it, that's another charge you can lose your license over.
Wow.
Unreal.
So that's one of the interesting things here is, we're talking about chaser safety. And I think you've done a good job at highlighting, a lot of people might think this conversation is about keeping yourself safe, right? You, your car, the people with you or whatever. A lot of this is about the decisions you make that affect other people that may not be in your car, that you just may be sharing the road with or seeing other circumstances. I like how you're highlighting that this goes beyond you and your personal vehicle.
Yeah. I mean, and it really does. I mean, it goes, I don't know. It's a hard pill to swallow when people are dying right now because of other people's actions. And this is where it's hard for me to swallow right now is that here we are, 3 people killed that we know of in the last 2 weeks, based on other people's actions. And so that's why law enforcement takes the road rules so serious on every vehicle, no matter what kind of vehicle it is. If it's an emergency vehicle, the inspections I go through on a daily basis in my patrol vehicle, just to make sure if I have to go high speed that it's safe. Do chasers do that? Do chasers check their tire pressures, which matters at high speeds and in rain, hydroplane, right? How many of us check our tires every day before a chase to say, oh, those tires, they're probably going to hydroplane.
Okay. So Eric, listen, let's get into the nitty gritty here. How many storm chasers do you think are doing dumb shit when they're out chasing right now?
Okay, so I was about to lead into something. I'm the guy who wrecked a vehicle because I didn't check my tires. So I'm not casting stones here. Okay, so with that, Greg, with that being said and asked, we all do something. Every time we're on the road and chasing a storm, we all do something. Even if it's unintentional, stop. It's we're human. The human factor's there. We're gonna make mistakes. It's when you transition into recklessness that people start having issues. When you start having so much tunnel vision that you blow stop signs, you don't care, or you're so worried about that tornado that you run 4 cars off the road or run into a ditch because you're more worried about the tornado than you are about the people around you. And that's my issue is the carelessness and the recklessness, not the mistakes. People are going to make mistakes. I mean, I made a mistake and I put my truck into a wall and I hate it. That was a long time ago, but it was a lesson learned. Don't drive a vehicle that's not prepared for the roadways. So loving to death. He drives me crazy at times chasing with him, but James Menzies, that guy will check his vehicle 6 times before we leave. And he will check the tires. He will check the engine. He will check the electronics. But he's prepared. And I've never felt unsafe chasing with him because he prepares. And then when he's on the road, he's not going to make he will miss a storm completely missed the storm. We busted because we didn't get there in time, because he was safe, because he's not selfish. And that's where we're at right now as a chaser community, in my opinion, is we are selfish in decisions being made for a storm that we might miss. But you know what? Last I checked, there's a trough next week, and we can get on that trough and probably not miss that because we can prepare for it. And that's where we're at in the chaser community right now, is like, I look at it as from the 50-foot scale, is what we call it in the military. You got a 50-foot and a 10-foot and then the ground level. From the 50-foot umbrella, unfortunately, with the investigations I've been involved with, I was involved in the Twistex investigation, and I saw what happened there. That was nothing but bad luck and circumstances out of anybody's control, that whole situation. So there's no blame there. And then you look at another situation where somebody runs a stop sign. Yeah. I mean, you can't, that's where we're at right now, is we got to look within. And can we self-police? I don't think that's working anymore. It's just not. So what can you do? I mean, the only thing you can do is when you see it, call it out. I could tell you in Oklahoma, law enforcement is done with chasers. They are done. I have talked to at least 5 police chiefs that I know that have zero tolerance right now for behavior on the roadway with chasers. And we've done it to ourselves. I hate to say it. We have done it to ourselves.
I got the tire pressure, guys, for 2 weeks. I got it. Don't worry. I'll bring it. We're good.
Yeah, I don't really know how to take that, Serena, so I think that's going to be on you.
Well, tell us, Erik, what else are you seeing out there from a safety standpoint from chasers that you feel certainly needs to be addressed?
So Randy Denzer, I had Randy at the Storm Chaser Summit this year, and I'm probably going to have him again next year, and I'll get into this in a little bit, but he is a search and rescue guru. He's been with the Austin Fire Department. He just retired after, I think, 29 years. He leads state search and rescue teams. Chasers are getting themselves into situations that they're not either 1, prepared for, 2, trained for, or 3, have no business even being there, like leaving and driving 50 miles to go help. That's unless you are specifically trained as an EMT and you are asked to help. There's this thing called MIMS program, MIMS, which is a national program. It's an incident management system that how people respond within the ICS, I should say. And Greg, you probably know a little bit about this. The incident command system says, hey, if we need help, we will call. Not let's go 50 miles and try to help somewhere we may not be needed, because now you become a hazard to other people in a natural disaster. I see a lot of chasers using the excuse to go in and try to help when they weren't even on the storm to begin with. And that's something we need to think about. And Randy talked about this a little bit, like, you're in flip-flops and shorts. Why are you running into a natural disaster trying to save people? And I'm seeing a lot of that lately. I know, for instance, I was on the Valonia tornado, the second one. And
Same here.
Yeah, Greg, actually, you remember me helping.
Yeah.
I specifically asked you for help. Because I got put into a sector in a search and rescue because the fire department and police departments were taken out by that tornado. The fire chief asked me to help.
Well, and also I actually think there was a couple towns up the road that had been hit prior, and so emergency management was just stretched so thin. You had to be involved.
Yep. So just to tell the background on the story, just to talk about Greg here. Jeff Shardell and I, we used to chase a lot back in 2016, and Greg, we used to be in the same area. Valonia got hit, the fire department got taken out, the police department got taken out.
In the dark.
We were prepared. I had my stuff with me, but I've had, experience in search and rescue and as a firefighter, as a police officer in the military. And I walked up and I went to the police chief and said, what can I do to help you? Not, hey, I'm going to run into this town and try to save people, or, hey, let's block this road for these people. That's not what we do. You could be an EMT, and if you can't pass somebody that injured as an EMT. I understand that. That's not what I'm saying. But we went and said, hey, what can you do? He goes, I have nobody. Here is a whole sector. He gave me an entire neighborhood that was completely flattened. By an EF4 tornado. And the only people that I had around me to help were chasers that I trusted. but I was very picky. And I stayed there. We were there about 9.5 hours
At least
until the state search and rescue teams got there. And that's what needs to happen. And that's where we're at right now is, get that training. And that's something that we're going to be doing at the Storm Summit from here on out is we're going to be pushing that training, right? We're going to be, hey, this is the EMT classes. This is how you do this. This is first aid. We're going to do first aid CPR this year. It's an 8-hour class. We're going to do it on a Friday before the summit even starts. That's my number one goal right now is to give that little bit extra. You never know when you're going to have to give CPR. You just don't know it.
Right.
And if it's something as a community we can do, that's fine. But don't go running in. And that's an issue I'm seeing right now is people getting themselves into situations that don't need to get into that situation. They're untrained. Even if you're an EMT, okay, you're an EMT. Have you ever been into a disaster situation and a mass casualty and you're one person with one bag? Are you really doing good?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're certainly not short of severe weather across the country right now. Do you guys, a question, do any of you have a motorcycle, RV? Oh, you got a cycle, Serena?
I got an RV.
I have a bike that I don't know.
Well, I don't know
it's non-motorized.
That relates, but this is the time of year everyone's getting their motorcycles out, they're getting the RVs out, right? They're ready to cross the country. But the question is, wouldn't it be great to know what you might be driving into and be safe, right, with the weather? So with the Drive Weather app, you're always going to know what the weather is going to be along your route as you're expected to travel through it. So it doesn't tell you the weather when you're driving through Chicago right now. It tells you what's the weather going to be as you're driving through Chicago 3 hours from now, for example. So avoid hitting the freeway during the heavy rain and the thunderstorms. You can use a departure slider on the screen to help you determine the best time to leave. You can see what the weather's going to be along your route if you wait a couple hours. What's cool is the free version allows up to an 850-mile trip. And if you use it once, you're going to want it all year long, especially in the winter. I use that all the time in the winter. But now it's also, and Greg just left, but it's available in Canada, right? So all our friends up north, you guys can benefit from this as well. You can also view a live radar that covers all of North America, not just the U.S., but also Canada. So you can find Drive Weather in your Apple or Google store, or just visit driveweatherapp.com for the official travel weather app of the Stormfront Freaks podcast. So, hey, it's time for a quick refill break. We've got another Titan U minute for you, and we'll be right back with more from Erik.
Sorry if I started rambling too much.
No, you're good.
That's all good, man.
No, it's awesome. I love hearing the search and rescue stuff. So being in New England, working on Mount Washington, I was part of the search and rescue crews up here. And so many people need to understand, like, it's really hard. And rule number one of being in search and rescue is don't become part of the rescue yourself. Yep. And so many people don't understand how easy that can happen. Yep. So it's good we're talking about it.
All right, so we got our VIPs in here, Erik.
Awesome.
These are basically our other teammates, as I like to think of them, but they always come up with some good no pressure, guys, but they do always come up with some good questions in the breaks. They come up with some good ones, and I think one of the things we're going to do in a future episode or bonus episode is we're going to cut some of the VIP and Patreon questions that we get from our guests and kind of create a little mini episode with some of those. Should be cool. Greg turned into a cat.
He did. Yeah, don't you see right?
Oh.
Sort of.
Looked like
Okay.
he turned into a cat.
Well, there's a cat. Yeah, there's a cat.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Greg.
Also, Brady, do you have like a 300-liter water bottle? What that thing
I
was,
do.
Like, bigger
I
than,
do. Look,
like,
it has the times, the day. As you can tell, I'm behind, so I'm gonna be. It's gonna be a long night.
All right, so you guys are VIPs. If you got questions for Erik, you
Can I just say something first, Phil?
You can ask. Unfortunately, I got to go get a drink too. So if you ask something, we're gonna ask later.
Brady, just so you know, that's a myth about that much water. You don't need that much water.
Really?
No, it's a total myth.
Well, I'm already committed at this point for at least for today. Maybe tomorrow I'll take it off, but.
All right, so VIPs, what questions you guys got?
Keep the sound down.
Yeah, I think I've got one.
All right.
I know. I believe, pretty sure it was the kickoff of this season earlier in, I believe it was Iowa. There's a gentleman, a chaser, and he's driving around, going past EMS and all that, kind of driving off the yards, things like that, clearly on video. No regard whatsoever for what's going on. I mean, if they wanted to in that area, whatever jurisdiction, could they pull that, from social media and use it as evidence to prosecute him? I mean, I think
It's a good question.
I mean,
that's a great question.
these people need to be accountable and realize, to not just be out here doing it to get as many likes, things like that. So I think they kind of need to be aware of this kind of craziness.
So, yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. And the answer to that question is absolutely. It's just like a surveillance. If somebody goes in and robs a store with a surveillance camera, that's video evidence that can be used against you. I saw it in Texas. If that would have been my jurisdiction, I saw a video of a vehicle that drove into a wheat field. What people don't know, and of course, a lot in Iowa, people know, agriculture, that's a big business. You start destroying crops, you're messing with a lot of agricultural laws. I couldn't quote them off the top of my head in each state, but like in Texas, you're doing basically criminal mischief to that property.
Really?
And so if you're causing damage to the wheat fields, you're causing damage to their crop. They're making money off that crop. That's criminal. I mean, we come up with a money amount in Texas. There's different laws based on the money amount of what level, all the way up to a felony 2, which is jail time. If you cause damage, you're opening yourself up. And so, yes, that in Oklahoma, it's the same way. If they, you're causing willful destruction of somebody's property.
Right. And this guy, I mean, he was just zero F's given, as they say. I mean, even like on his social media accounts, people were, the wise chasers were cutting in on him, and he just had no disregard. It was all about being there and being the first one to get the footage.
Garrett, we on this show, we're okay naming and shaming, man. Who is it? Yeah, hit us.
It's been a while, so I don't want to get it wrong, but I want to say it was Straws or something like that. I could be.
Wasn't it Stas?
It was. Stas.
It was Stas. Yeah. I remember.
I think everybody's seen the video by now
Yeah.
for sure, and because the kickoff of the season, it really just raised the stink and.
Right, I remember that. Yeah,
I mean,
I think that made weather fools.
Actually, it did.
Was that the one where he went off the end of the road because he was flying too fast or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, he went.
He
went around.
He crossed the median, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was just frustrated with traffic. It was a 4-lane highway, and he just dipped down the median, went into the oncoming traffic lane, and started cruising up that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember seeing it, and the first thing I was thinking, I was like, man, I wish I was working there, because that's not okay. So, I mean, I'm just saying, there's times I think about that all the time, and it's hard for me to be like, nope, I'm chasing the day, put up. Now, I'll say that there's been twice this year in Texas, I've stopped and said, hey, you're, let me get on a rant, blocking roads for no reason. So, that is a Class C misdemeanor in the state of Texas. So, I don't even tell people when I'm off duty, guys, and I'm chasing, I try not to go down the work avenue. I'm just like the rest of us. I don't try to go down that road unless it's just, blocking a road, trying to film a storm. You've got 45 cars back lined up and won't let anybody
bad
by
news.
No. Hey, how about interstate and hiding under the overpass during hail and blocking all lanes?
Yeah.
And that's not even chasers. Those are just dumbass people.
Oh my God.
So, there's a few laws on obstructing highways. I do know there's a push by several lawmakers that's being pushed from, emergency managers that are trying to increase the levels of legal things that we could do as law enforcement on those individuals that are trying to do that. because it is deadly. Unfortunately, I don't know when the legal process takes forever, but I do know there's some wheels turning on that because, they're going back all the way to Bridge Creek, 1999. There's known fatalities because of that. So, I know they're trying to do that wrong.
Playing devil's advocate though, guys, how much of that is just like personal preservation, like people not trying to be dicks? They just, it's hailing and they're like, I got this new car, and
it doesn't matter because they're preventing everybody else behind them that has a new car from getting to safety somewhere else.
We need to save this. This is a good debate. This is a good debate.
Crap. I'm going to carry a bat this season. I don't know if this is
my
against the law,
God.
Eric, but if someone's completely blocking all the lanes during a hailstorm, is it self-defense to take a bat to their car
you're going to go
and give them the
unhinged
same
on
hail dents they would have had and that my own car
Well,
is
Phil,
getting?
you'll be on TikTok, that's for sure.
I'm glad we're driving separate cars, Phil.
Yeah.
I'm not riding with you.
Yeah, I did not hear that, Phil.
Yeah, Serena, I'll bring a Nerf gun in our car. We'll have a Nerf gun. Yeah.
Good. Okay, good.
Okay,
Angela, what were you going to say?
No, I said so I was home like 2 weeks ago, and I'm part of trucking groups on Facebook. That's what I do, and it is shocking how many trucking companies tell their drivers to park underneath underpasses and take cover underneath overpasses.
Hey, I don't have a problem if you're in the median. If you're off, and I don't know,
like
Eric,
from
if that's
tornadoes.
against...
You park underneath the overpass and you go up the gardens.
No. Okay. No.
I was like, let me get you a YouTube playlist of every video that tells you not to do that.
So, the hard part in this, guys, is you have what we call intent, or your mental state at the time of committing a crime. So, or doing something. Is the intent there to harm other people? Probably not. So that's something that we have to weigh in law enforcement. Like, what was the intent here? Did he intentionally, try to block this roadway when he was just trying to protect himself? And when you're in a natural disaster, I hate to say it, but that's kind of the least of our worries.
Well, that's all I'm doing with a bat. I'm not intending to harm anybody.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to hold up in court, Phil. Just saying.
There is another object that's called criminally negligent, and I think it may fall there. But
yeah, but that's a misdemeanor, right?
There you go. Yeah.
So
just a slap on the wrist.
I think we've all been there, though, just frustrated. I could tell you there's, El Reno. The second El Reno day. I mean, how many of us tried to get out of the flooding and just was in traffic for days, that seemed like. But yeah, and it was because people were stopped on the roadways, and then the roadways are flooding. So, I don't know who all was I cannot talk right now. I don't know who all chased El Reno day, but I know for me, that was probably one of my most frustrating parts of it is as you're trying to get out of the area, you can't because drive south, right?
I think I'm in for a wake-up call after getting back out there after almost 20 years. I think it's going to be interesting.
Everybody knows about the drive south thing, right? Does everybody not from the? I guess you guys aren't from the OKC area.
I don't know that.
I'm from Oklahoma, and I had never heard that until El Reno Day.
So there was a local meteorologist. I know you guys like names called out. Yeah, I'll let somebody else do that. Told
Thanks,
the entire
Angela.
metro area to drive south to get out of the way of the storm.
Which just caused giant traffic jams.
It was I grew up in Dallas-Fort Worth, and I've never seen anything like that. So.
Well, yeah, because everybody freaked out because more happened days, but like 11 days before.
Yeah, 10 or 11 days, yeah.
And then it was just like a mass exodus.
Jeez.
Millions of people trying to leave the area. There's 2.1 million people in the area or something like that, and everybody was trying to leave. Yeah.
It's actually in like the top 15 of the actual like largest cities by square mileage.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, did the tornado go over the highway at all?
It did I-40. I mean, El Reno, and it went up towards Yukon, and that was where everybody thought Yukon, Mustang, and in the west side of Oklahoma City was kind of in the beeline for that tornado until it took that deviant motion left turn, which unfortunately killed our friends. That's what happened in that situation where it looked like there was that was the thing about El Reno that got everybody in trouble was nobody thought it was going to turn and expand like it did. And so everybody got in trouble and started running from it. Well, on the TV and the signatures and the velocity signatures, if that velocity signature goes into a highly populated area, not only do you probably have an EF4, EF5 tornado, just thinking about the number of people, the hundreds of thousands of people, of how wide that tornado was. So that's what I
plus
think.
it would have crossed right over 35 then at that point too.
Right. And so that's why I don't blame him. I mean, I get it, because those radar signatures just chasing, I was just like, I've never seen this before. And then, I went back and watched what was being said, and people were literally, like Angela said, the OKC area was frightened. I mean, physically shaking, frightened that day because of what had happened over a 3-4 day span. Just tornado outbreak after tornado outbreak. So and it plays part into chasers, right? And this is another thing that I've had police chiefs call me and say, "Hey, Erik, I'm hearing that there's going to be EF5 tornadoes all over the place." I'm like, "Where are you getting this information?" It's like a C-text day or whatever we do now, marginal day. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, some storm chaser on this page says it's going to be an EF5 tornado today. I mean, come on. Like, we are scaring the shit out of the public for no reason. And a lot of these Facebook pages are doing it, and there's chasers out there doing it. It's hard on us and law enforcement to keep the people calm, or emergency management, the whole umbrella, in the TV sector, in the credentialed meteorologists who are putting out good information, and it gets squashed because of a social media post from a chaser.
Well, and then when it's wrong, I mean, then no one is going to trust any meteorologist, right? You get lumped into everyone. They just lump everyone in the same category. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But unfortunately, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll keep rolling here so we can get into our second segment. VIPs will bring you back here in a little bit. Boop.
Hey, Erik, have you talked to Jeff lately?
I've not. I've actually sent him a text here not too long ago, and he never responded. But
yeah,
I talked to Dustin though.
Yeah.
So the new company's
not
up
chasing anymore, though, eh?
No, not really. Well, neither one of them are. He is actually. They started the new company, and that new company has taken off to the point where nobody has time to do anything, and they are succeeding crazy. Like, I guess the last time I was up there last year and saw them, and they've had to expand into a new building. Their customer base has tripled. So yeah, they're not out chasing or anything, because he's their head of marketing, I think, right now. Dustin is. So yeah.
All right. So here's what we'll do. We'll come back out of break. I will. And so here's what I want to do, guys. I want the next 15 minutes here of this second segment to be maybe even a group conversation, but I do want to start talking about, okay, if I want to be recognized as a safe chaser, right? Like I want to be on that soapbox. What are some of the resources that, like some of you guys know, I've in the back of my mind, I've always thought of this, it started as a chaser safety certification. And I got past the whole certification thing because no one's going to get certified. No one would certify anybody in storm chasing, right? It's just too risky and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that would happen. So it's evolved a little bit more into maybe a chaser safety checklist, right? So it's not a certification like, hey, I'm certified, but hey, I've met all the requirements on the checklist to be considered a safe chaser, right? So I want to talk about, hey, what are some things, and Erik's already brought it up a little bit, first aid, CPR kind of stuff, that's kind of search and rescue stuff. But what are other things that you could say, hey, if you do this online resource or in-person class or blah, 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 these are all going to help check off you becoming a super safe chaser or something like that. And then what are some physical supplies, safety supplies that every chaser should have in their vehicle, and kind of talk about that. And I'm probably going to be writing some of this stuff down as well as we kind of all brainstorm that a little bit. Does that make sense? Yeah. You with that? How's my audio? Am I clicking out or Am I sounding
good.
okay? All right.
No, you're
Beautiful
good.
as always, Phil. Beautiful as always.
It hasn't been, though, always. That's what's a little frustrating. I think what might happen is when we start getting a bunch of more people's videos on the screen, I might start clicking out. I don't know. But anyway, here we go. So we're going late, Eric. I apologize, but obviously this is something we could probably turn into a 3-part series, and maybe we will still at some point. But
this is forefront and chasing right now.
and then when we kind of get through this 15 minutes or so, we're gonna hear. Okay, and that's going to be the sound for the lightning round. So we're going to play a little lightning round with you, Eric, and then we'll go to our second break, okay?
Yep.
All right, so here we go. Coming in, 3, 2. Hey, welcome back, everybody. So we're here with Chaser and Officer Erik Fox. And Erik, one of the things, and some of our listeners know this, is that we've talked about this before, and it's an idea I've always had, and I'm not the only one with this idea, but I just, at some point when I've got time, or maybe when we're not doing the podcast anymore, but it is to put together some type of a chaser safety checklist. At one point I was thinking certification, but I realized that's maybe a touchy subject to be a certified, because as you mentioned earlier, everybody's human, right? It's easy to, oh crap, I was looking at this and I missed that stop sign, or we've all kind of done it. And we always talk about we're all weather fools, because we're all chasing stupid storms and getting kind of close to stuff that probably shouldn't. But so I've come down to, hey, there should be a checklist, and it would be cool, I think, right, for people that really want to get passionate about this. And I know there's some chasers that they're not going to be passionate about being safe and getting certifications and learning and all that kind of stuff, and that's okay. But this is for the people that want to get passionate about this, want to be designated a safe chaser. Right. And I think it would be neat if we got some chasers that were well known to go, yeah, that's something I'm passionate about. Let me get my checklist, and then they can help promote it, which is going to help some of the other chasers go, oh, so so-and-so's doing it, or so-and-so got it. So I want to talk, Erik, with you, and even with the freaks, talk a little bit about, what should go on the safety checklist, meaning, and there's really kind of 2 parts. Like, one part might be, what are some safety resources? And the other part is, what are safety supplies? So what are things I should always have with me when I'm chasing? And then what are some resources that I can study, classes I can take, books I can read that are going to help me better understand how I can be a safe chaser? And so I'll kind of start. And Erik, you actually mentioned it a little bit earlier, and during the break we were talking about this. So if you're not a Patreon member, you missed out on that. But here were just some resources I had thought of off the top of my head. Spotter Network, right? Just going on Spotter Network, they have a little requirement you have to go through as well before you even can be maybe considered a spotter. And I know they're doing some things. You can't adjust your GPS on that anymore. I know there's some issues with that, but I'm thinking, hey, maybe that's something. Chuck Doswell, he did I don't know if it was a paper, but obviously he did a big, I don't know if it's big either, but it's good reading, okay? He called it Storm Chasing with Safety, Courtesy, and Responsibility. I don't know how long ago he wrote this, but everything is still relevant today with that. You mentioned the CPR and first aid, AED training. Obviously, anybody should take their spotter training, whether it's National Weather Service, Met Ed. I also wrote down American Safety and Health Institute Advanced First Aid. And maybe that's going a little bit above and beyond, right? Like, hey, the basic first aid would be cool. If you got that, that's certainly a great start. You can help. I wrote down the National Safety Council online defensive driving course. So that's something that and Erik, you can tell me, but like, if you get a bunch of speeding tickets, can't you take something like that to bring your points down?
You can, but also your insurance. It also helps your insurance. I mean, there's multiple reasons to take that course, and you took the words right out of my mouth. That was the first thing I was going to say. Defensive driving, because how many times does that car pull out in front of us, and then we don't know what to do, and we cause a fender bender. So
And it's so cool. I'm glad. I didn't know if that would be a shot in the dark, but certainly something I was thinking about too. But there's also, they've got a module for weather and road conditions that you can take with that as well. And a lot of that stuff is online. I think the defensive driving course is $50. The weather and road conditions module is just $12 more on top of that. NASA search and rescue, again, I think maybe that's above and beyond and stuff, but certainly something. So talking about resources, guys, what do you think? Books, classes, what are other things, whether it's, hey, everybody should have this, but those that, there's kind of another level of those, search and rescue to me, that's kind of another level. Like, hey, these people are really, they're trained to go in because there are some people that might not interest them, right? Like, hey, basic
Phil,
first aid.
I think there's got to be a component of any kind of safety program which says you don't try to do something. And Eric, you mentioned this. Don't try to go beyond what you're capable or trained to do, right? Just straight across the board.
Yeah.
If you don't know about search and rescue, don't go somewhere to be a search and rescue person. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
You're going to become part of the search and rescue, and that's like rule number 1 of things you don't do in search and rescue. Like, you really better know what you're doing, or you're going to become part of the problem.
Yeah. So I look at this 2 parts, right? Driving is the most dangerous thing we do. Period. Yep. I don't care where we got to get there. We got to get home, and then we got to deal with all the 18-year-old kids who seem to be chasing with no driving experience. So if we can be defensive drivers first and get home safely, I'm going to go off on a little tangent within that. On top of that, it's getting rest, right? How many of us drive hours and hours to get to a location to chase, and then, I got to work tomorrow, I got to drive all the way back? That's dangerous. You guys know more people are killed because of I don't know the actual statistics, so I'm not going to quote that, but it is more dangerous to drive tired than it is to drive drunk, because, believe it or not, they have found that your cognitive level is worse than when you're driving drunk, when you're driving over fatigued. So within that of defensive driving and the driving techniques and everything you're doing, put that in that, right? Put that in that. The other part of that, and I struggle with this to this day, of somebody with no knowledge of weather, severe weather, or hurricanes, a storm surge, should they really be out there? How many times are you going to be in the hook of a tornado and not see the tornado because you don't understand how tornadoes work and when they include how, the deviant motion, which we just saw last week? Chasers getting in trouble because they don't understand tornadoes. When, if you look at Fujita's research paper, how many of those tornadoes hook off to the left when they dissipate and occlude, right? And I split that between driving and that. I mean, it's hard for me when people ask me, and since I started a Storm Chaser Summit the last 2 years, I've had an influx of really young people. I mean, 12, 13, 14-year-olds. Hey, what can I do to storm chase? And the first thing I say is pick up a book. Start reading basic weather and severe weather knowledge, because they're not old enough to drive yet. And then you get that transition of teenagers with vehicles. I was that guy once. I was that person. I really didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I didn't get myself in trouble because I actually picked up a book and read I might not want to be there. And I went and took a spotter training class. And so to me, on the weather side, I'm a proponent of the National Weather Service Skyborne training. It teaches you the basics.
So Eric, you've got, obviously you're, as a first responder, first aid and probably some sort of advanced training when it comes to that. But how many chasers do you think have actually taken a first aid class?
It's less than 10%. Because I could tell you, even on the law enforcement side, we have to get pushed to go take it. I mean, so if we're there with it every day and then we're not doing it, so you can only imagine what it is on the day-to-day person that goes chasing. I'd say it's less than 10%. Now, you've got your firefighters out there and your EMS people that love to chase. I know I've got a bunch of them that are friends of mine, and they love it. That's why Randy and I are working together. He loves that stuff, and we want to push that out a little more. To get that first aid training. It's not just storm damage. I mean, how many gas stations are we in a day or whatever when, an elderly person falls down and needs CPR? I mean, that's stuff that as a human I would want to have just because of the contact and the amount of time and additional people we have in contact with compared to the normal person.
Yeah. And guys, I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here. I think I agree with everything, Eric, Phil, Greg, Serena, everything that we've said. I think 100% that people who are storm chasing, especially regularly, should have, should do the defensive driving course, should have the CPR training, should have basic knowledge of meteorology. But I think the point is people don't, right? Like how do we incentivize? Because I think there's one aspect of it, like, yes, we can punish and we can, report it and try and get these people who are ignoring these rules, get them off the roads if we can. But realistically, that's hard to do, right? Like, is there a way to incentivize people to get this somehow else than saying, hey, you're going to be safer? Because I feel like people who are being unsafe already don't care, like how do we reach, and maybe you can't reach those people, right? And maybe they're just going to do what they want to do. But I don't know. That's where
Eric, give us your thoughts on that, and then I want to chime in too.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. It's part why when ChaserCon folded shop and they decided to retire, why I wanted to keep it going, because I wanted to take it to another route of, hey, let's figure out how we can put this stuff on for free. My ultimate goal with the Chaser Summit is to have a free event where people can come and be educated, not just come listen to somebody talk. So, yeah, I don't know what we could do to incentivize it, because, I'm going to be really honest. I hate Spotter Network. I think that was the worst thing that ever happened to storm chasing. Was the intent there? Yeah. But I can tell you, I've been followed by people on Spotter Network that have no business following me. They find me on Spotter Network. They're on Spotter Network. That test is super, super simple. Did they try, or did they just find the answers? And so I don't know. I think that's a hard question to answer,
it is.
Because I don't know what to do.
Yeah. And I that's probably a whole nother discussion. I would agree with you in some regards on that, Eric. But Brady, here's what I think. To incentivize people, it's got to be, because again, not everyone's going to do it. There are going to be that could care less, and that's fine, because the goal is you can't adopt or try to create something like this and expect you're going to get 100% participation. And it's just not going to happen. Yeah. But here's what you can do. As I mentioned, if you can get a couple maybe well-known chasers or more popular chasers in the community that are passionate about it and go, yeah, that's cool. And you can get on board with a few of them, and then they start promoting it, right? It does a couple things. First off, obviously it just gets the conversation going. Yeah. Safe chasing. You get the conversation going.
Makes people aware of it, right? Yeah.
Exactly. But then you also have people that, you've got newer chasers or people that don't chase much and that maybe look up to these people and go, that's, I follow this person on social media and I follow their streams and wow, they're promoting, safe chasing, and they completed the checklist. Man, I want to do that too. That's cool. What do I need to do that? And you can you're going to get some people that way, right? But at least what you're doing is you're starting the conversation and you're seeing it more often and you hear a few more people talking about it. And you've just, that in itself helps. You're not going to solve the problem. That's not the goal, but you help. And you help kind of move the needle a little bit in the right direction by having it discussed more often and promoted more often. And you have something. Like right now, there really isn't something. So I think
great segue, because my next question for Eric is, let's go positive now, Eric. Give us an example of a scenario you've had over the last few years where you went, man, this chaser did it right, or this situation worked out great because of the way somebody handled a particular situation.
Honestly, I like Scott Peak for certain reasons, because to me he does do it right. Because I've been around him, even though he gets himself in situations, the first thing he does is pick up the phone and call the National Weather Service and say, "Hey, I'm just letting you know there's this tornado, and if Scott's calling it in, he's usually dead on because he's places nobody else is." And I can tell you, Joplin. His information in Joplin even though that loss of life was there, he helped because he gave that warning, that lead time, even more than what I know the National Weather Service was going to issue that warning on. So, that's one incident is where we're doing good. We are, even though it drives me crazy we spot our network, but how much of this lead time are we helping the National Weather Service because we're actually out there and we're following these storms where most people back in the 1990s and early 80s when this first started, there was no communication to get that information to the National Weather Service. So, everybody's intent is there to report that. And you see it all the time. I mean, there's tornadoes that's happened that the National Weather Service probably wouldn't have warned on, but there's a tornado on the ground, especially in the outer rings of the radar. I think there's a lot of circumstances, and there's almost too many to count, that I know that warnings have come out and probably saved lives because we're out there. So, when it says, hey, I'm out here to save lives, I honestly believe people are out there to save lives, and that's 99% of us.
So let's jump. I want to jump to now maybe supplies. What should chasers have in their vehicle to help with the safety, whether it's safety of themselves or safety of others? A couple things I jotted down was just, a basic first aid kit. That's a start, right? There's certainly much more you could do there, but that's a start. Your good old roadside emergency kit. Do you have a reflective vest? Can a fix-it flat, flares? What else?
So the thing that stands out for me that has come in handy so often is the latex gloves. I know it seems like a small thing, but I mean, Erik, you guys all carry them with you, right? Mm-hmm. And you're much more willing to help somebody out when you've got that protection for yourself than if you didn't have it. So I think those latex gloves in the van.
Which, and I was thinking too, like a CPR mask, mouth-to-mouth mask, so you're not, doing skin to skin. You can get those dirt cheap. You can get just flimsy plastic ones on a keychain for like $5 or something like that. But
to me, tourniquets is another thing that's kind of an afterthought. I know some of us that have been in the military and EMS world and first responder world lately have noticed tourniquets are saving lives, believe it or not.
Erik, what's a tourniquet?
So a tourniquet will put on a limb, one of your limbs, and you tighten it down and stop blood from being, most people will die of blood loss before they'll die of anything else, especially with crush injuries. So if you're on a scene of a tornado, you can't get by, you got people crushed and you got, bright red blood. Of course, you need to get training in this stuff. But,
yes.
Thank you. Tourniquets, believe it or not, even trying to put on a tourniquet and you don't know what you're doing, if you've got bright red blood and they're bleeding out, I don't care if you know how to put it on or not. It's something. Stress. It's something because they're finding, and I've seen it in combat, tourniquets will save lives. People may not know what they're doing, but that tourniquet they try to put on slow down the blood long enough to get help. So that's one thing. The other thing to me, though, is a self-extraction kit. How many of us have been on the side of a road in the mud, can't get out, right? Mm-hmm. You've got a tornado bearing down. Ask Spencer Basoko and myself in Pampa in November of 2017. We had the second storm coming up, and a tornado missed us by 100 yards because we were broke down. We had no way of getting out. We ran away from the tornado. That was the only thing we could do because you know how flat it is. I'll let him tell that story sometime because I try to forget that one. That was the biggest mistake of my life. But, if that instance, if you're stuck in the mud and you have a car pull up and say, hey, pull on, hook up. Do you have chains? Do you have straps, toe straps to pull you out of the mud and somebody's driving by that might get you out of the woods when that tornado may be bearing down on you from a mile and you can get out of there? The other thing I can think of is a jack. Getting you a jack, learning how to get out of mud and with using a jack is instrumental. It's something we had to learn first day of the military. I think I started driving vehicles. You get stuck in the mud, you can jack yourself out of that mud onto a roadway. So there's things you can do, flat lights, just having, what if you're in middle of Kansas and you've got no power to your vehicle and your cell phone's on 5% because we've been looking at the radar for the last 5 hours, having that extra battery power or having that box of power to get you that help. The other thing I can think of is on the medical side of things is just, if you know somebody in your car that has to have their medication for some reason, bring it with them. Don't leave it in a hotel. make sure your medication, the people in the vehicle with you, have that medication with them, because you get stuck in the mud for 6, 7, 8 hours without the medication, you're going to be in trouble. So it's little stuff like that too that you can think of.
Phil, we have all of that stuff, right?
I've got some of it. I've got some of it.
There's grocery
can't
stores
say I've
there.
got all of it.
Phil and I'll talk. We'll figure it out.
Fantastic.
That's great, Brady.
Yeah, just thinking ahead.
All right, everybody. Well, hey, that's the sound. It's time for our lightning round. And so, Eric, this is our game show of flashy and brilliant questions. We get to play with our guests. Tonight, we're bringing back one, this is kind of relevant, obviously, to you being our guest. We're bringing back one called Porn Star or Storm Chaser.
Wow.
Why is that relevant to Eric
it's-
being the guest?
Chaser. Storm Chaser. Yeah, not the other part.
Greg,
Well,
I think
that
Dustin
I'm
needs to be
aware
on this call.
that I'm aware of. So Eric, here's how this game is played. I've got there's 4 audio clips, and you have to tell me, is this an audio clip that we pulled from a porn movie, or is this an audio clip that we pulled from a chasing video? Does that make sense?
Wouldn't
And
that be considered storm porn?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, sort of.
Hey, he's
I
got a
mean,
good point there.
that's sort
is
of-
that you pulling those answers from the porn movie?
I'm pleading the fifth. I'm
Okay,
not
great,
gonna answer that.
fantastic.
So 4 clips, and you get to, the freaks can maybe try and help you out a little bit as well if they want. But I'm gonna play these. I'm gonna play one at a time, and you just tell me. You got to tell me Porn Star or Storm Chaser. That's gonna be your answer. Make sense? All right. So here's the first one. Listen up.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy! Whoa!
So is that a porn star or a storm chaser?
That is straight up Troy's. Yeah, that's Storm Chaser. That's a chaser.
That is correct.
Yeah,
That is a storm
nice.
chaser.
Sounded
All right,
Canadian.
here's the next one. Listen close.
Oh, it's sucking! It's sucking! Oh my god!
Okay. Porn star or storm chaser?
Oh my god, that is a Storm Chaser, but I don't know. I do question the
No way! Oh my god!
That was. You're 2 for 2. You're doing well. Doing well. All right, here we go. Third one.
Oh my god, Nick! No! No! Oh!
Okay.
Oh my!
British porn star or storm chaser?
Is there an answer C for both? I'm gonna go with Storm
Not
Chaser.
that I'm aware of. I'll just say that.
Storm Chaser.
Wow! What?
For any future guests, just know that the answer on all of them is going to be
Yeah.
That's the safe answer. That's
Hey,
the safe
uh,
answer.
Not necessarily. We played one with clips from movies, non-porn movies, but movies.
I would question.
But
what
all
was
right, so
being
here's
played
the
in
last
car.
one. Last one.
Oh, this is too great. Oh my god, that funnel is just...
You need me to play that again?
No, I'm gonna go.
I'll play it again. It's good.
Oh, this is too great. Oh my god, that funnel is just...
Oh my god. Yeah, definitely Storm Chaser, but
Oh my
I
Very
god!
gotta know
good.
who that is.
You,
I gotta know who that is.
you got them all. Yeah,
Wow.
some I think might have been clips. Maybe not of a storm chaser, but there was a storm and they were responding to the storm. At least it sounded that way, right? Maybe. So, all
Our
right, good
audience
job,
got them
Eric.
all right.
You got them all right, man. You rock that. So do us a favor. Tell us where our listeners can find you on social media.
Yeah, weather-wise, just mainly on Twitter at Erik Fox 2000. ERIKFOX 2000.
Okay, that's your primary.
Yeah, that's my primary weather one. I'm on Facebook, Erik Fox, but I kind of just tend to keep that to people I actually know. So, or I've met. So just law enforcement, I'm very picky on that end. But so everything I do with weather chasing is all through Twitter.
Very good. All right, so I'll tell you what, we've talked a little bit about it, but our team's gearing up for our first Stormfront Freaks team chase. We just decided let's get the band back together, and we'll actually, who knows what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting either way, I can tell you that much. But in a few weeks, we're getting excited for that, and at helicity.co/SFF, they've got a huge selection of really creative weather and storm chasing themed t-shirts, gear, and merchandise, including Stormfront Freaks shirts and beverage containers. So go to the exclusive site, helicity.co/SFF, and you're also going to earn 5% off your entire order. And while you're there, you can click on the Brands tab, find all your Stormfront Freaks favorites. Again, helicity.co/SFF. It's time for our final break. We definitely got more to come, including #WeatherFools and another edition of Storm Chasing Games Gone Wild. So we'll be right back. Hang on.
Boom.
All right, Eric, do me a favor. Do a quick sound clip for me. Say, hi, this is Storm Chaser and Officer Erik Fox promoting safe storm chasing on the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Hey, this is Erik Fox. Let me start over. Sorry. Hey, this is Officer and Storm Chaser Erik Fox here on Storm Freak Fronts. But, I'm going to have to write this down. Hold on.
That's all right. You'll make the blooper reel. That's good. Man. We need a few more of those.
It took Cantori 5 tries.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
it did.
So I'm a media guy, and I write down everything I say. So
yeah, 100%.
So again, Storm Officer and Storm Chaser Erik Fox promoting safe storm chasing on the Stormfront Freaks podcast. I'm actually giving you a little more than I give most people. Normally it's just, hi, this is Erik Fox, Storm Chaser, and you're listening to the Stormfront. So I'm saying, hey, promoting safe storm chasing, because that's what we're doing. So,
all right. Who has a weather fool?
Hold on. You're getting ahead of the game here, Brady.
I know. I know.
Hold on.
You've 2?
Looks like everybody got it right. Timothy got all the chasers.
They got them all.
Josh, you got it right.
Well, that was a safe answer. You couldn't say the other one because, then like, your wife or something be like, have you watched that?
Right.
Like, yeah, it's a safe answer.
It's Stormfront Freaks, right?
Stormfront Freaks podcast. Yeah. You got it.
You guys ever had Oberon before? Beer?
No.
Oh, man. You guys are missing out. It's so good.
Tastes like beer?
Yeah. It's an American wheat ale. I'm a big wheat beer guy.
So nice. Yeah, I'm not a wheat fan.
You IPA, Phil?
Yeah, I do like IPAs. Pale ales.
American You're either one or the other. You're either a wheat guy or an IPA or pale ale guy.
Probably. Yeah,
I do not discriminate. I like both.
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Wow. That rare breed.
And I also like stouts.
All right, Eric, you ready?
You like
no. Hold on. My phone decided to take everything I wrote and move it.
Oh. Thank you.
Gotta love iPhone. Yeah. Paste. Okay.
Hey, if we get stuck in mud, I'll bring some extra kitty litter from my parents'
Officer
house.
and Storm Chaser Erik Fox promoting safe storm chasing on Storm Freak. Golly. All right.
It's a tongue twister.
It's a mouthful. It is.
It's a tongue twister.
You got this. Hey,
everybody. This Officer and Storm Chaser Erik Fox promoting storm safe. Yeah, here we go. Here's another one.
Take your time.
Hey, everybody. This is Officer Erik Fox and Storm. Screwed it up again. Hey, everybody. This is Officer and Storm Chaser Erik Fox promoting safe storm chasing on Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Yeah, baby.
Boom. Bravo.
I like my producer when I'm on air, and I'm like, all right, hold on, take 25, hold on.
All right, we're bringing in, we lost Angela. All right, VIP's back. You guys have anything for Eric?
Yeah, I've got a quick one.
Yeah.
Sweet.
What do you think is like the next step in community policing?
Honestly, I think we've gotten so large, it's almost impossible to get down that road of self-policing other than the real police, the investigators. Unfortunately, the lawsuits are being filed. People are just going to have to realize your liability is out there, and it's no longer. Do we need to stop self-policing? No, we need to call it out like we see it. And I know some of y'all follow me on social media, and I will call it out. I did it this last week. Continue to do that, because some people don't realize they're doing it, and it works on some and it works on others, and it does not work on others. And those that do not care, there's those of us in law enforcement who are paying attention, especially in Oklahoma, because I'm telling you, they're done in Oklahoma, messing with storm chasers and doing stuff illegal on the roadway. So just know that you are being watched, and what you're doing, will be held accountable one way or another, either through us or through law enforcement.
Thanks.
All right. We got Weather Fools. Brady, you're leading that off.
Great.
I got 2, Brady.
Wow. Serena's got 2 too, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. I've got 1.
I've got 3.
Okay.
I had 4, but I'm taking 1 off.
Great.
Hey, before we start, come here. So she won a science fair based on tornado genesis here this year.
Whoa!
Everybody say hi.
That's a girl after my own heart right there.
Congratulations.
And what's your name?
She can't hear yet, but her name is Aspen. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi,
Hey,
congratulations.
Well, nice work.
That's so awesome. Good for you.
You probably know more about tornadoes than I do, so that's awesome.
Yeah, she probably does.
Aspen, tell us one cool thing about tornadoes that you learned working on your project.
Well, I did it in kindergarten, so I can't remember all the facts that I did, but I learned EF1 through EF5.
Right on.
Good for you.
There you go. That's
so
great.
exciting.
What's your favorite kind of tornado?
EF5.
EF5.
Wow.
Finger God.
Not messing around.
Oh my god.
That's awesome.
I'd offer her a book, but I think she's well beyond that. Goodness gracious.
Yeah,
She's so good.
She will literally call me and say, "Hey, Dad, there was a lightning strike at this time," and I'll look on the radar scope, and there's the lightning. It's really good. So
that's cool.
Awesome.
All right. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm still pulling up here. I'm trying to find my
You're doing great, Phil. You're doing
my
great.
other weather fool. Darn it.
Is MJ here, by the way?
No. Look, do you see him?
Sometimes he's behind the
That's
scenes.
true.
He just kind of comes out of nowhere. Scares you.
No, he is not. That's why I'm struggling to find everything. God darn it, where is this one?
I guess I should do the screen share.
Yeah, share your screens. I gotta search for this weather. Fool. Boom.
No worries.
You guys will probably meet her at the Chaser Summit this next year. I think she's going to come and help. If any
really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you take her chasing with you?
I have a few times. I don't take her on dangerous days or big days, but I'll take her on hailstorms and stuff like that right now. So
fun. Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. I remember I did science fair projects on tornadoes and weather and all that too, and it's awesome. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, and how did that turn out for you, Serena?
Pretty damn awesome.
Hey, so Brady, can you do me a favor? Don't have me go last with Weather Fools, and that's just first, so I can pull up the video for the second segment we have. So the second segment, Greg, Storm Chasing Games Gone Wild. Were you on the first time we did this?
No.
Okay, so we're basically this is we're looking at storm chasing video games, and we're finding, and this is perfect again for this show, we're finding people doing stupid things in storm chasing video games.
Oh my god!
And so there's a clip I'm going to play for you that's just freaking hilarious, and we can all comment on it while it's going on. And Eric, just so you know, you are now a fellow co-host freak, so you're able to comment and say whatever, right? It's so you're one of us. So does that make sense, Greg? What that is? So you are coming in. So Brady, you're coming in on the Who, and Greg, you're coming in on Steppenwolf. Okay. And then both of you can tell folks that they can find these clips or Weather
157?
Fools episode 157 at stormfrontfreaks.com. Show notes. And then I'll close it up, okay? So, Eric, thanks for we're going later than normal, and Serena, I know we're past your bedtime. But
you guys are always past my bedtime, but
you're
it's
a
fun.
trooper. You're doing awesome, so we're good.
I don't go to bed till like 1 a.m., so I'm good.
Oh my God,
and I got to share my screen too.
Yeah. I'm on a mid shift. I'm usually at work right now, so.
Oh man.
Share screen. Window. Boom.
You'll get it, Phil. We believe you.
Man, I just got too much.
Do you guys miss MJ? I miss MJ.
I think you're doing a great job, Phil.
All right. You ready, Brady?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. You are coming in 3, 2.
Welcome back to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. Who is that? That's the who. Who am I? I'm Brady. What is this? This is Weather Fools. What is Weather Fools, you may ask? Well, guess what? For those that maybe it's your first time, or maybe you just are a little forgetful, Weather Fools, us as the freaks, we're going on the internet, we're going on the dark web, as Phil likes to say. We're looking for someone that did something not so smart, and it deals with the weather. Phil, I understand you have a couple of Weather Fools this week. Who are your Weather Fools?
Oh, beautiful. I do have a couple of Weather Fools. We're going to start off with none other than Kevin Kleisel, a former guest on our show. And we get to harass Major League Baseball again. That continues to have the worst weather safety policy, I think, in any sport. And I would say any sport, including high school and college. You guys know we've had some storms up north in Minnesota last few days. And, of course, this was yesterday, I think. Yeah, May 11th. This was yesterday. Twins and Astros were playing under a tornado watch in the middle of a thunderstorm warning with lightning within less than 5 miles. And they finally called the game and, of course, send out the grounds crew to have to clean up while there's, the severe weather you guys know that was coming into Minnesota, into the Twin Cities, like 80-mile-per-hour winds on that Bo Echo and so good old Major League Baseball.
Phil, looking at that radar, I mean, there's lightning, cloud-to-ground lightning well ahead of where the rain is. And that's when you get in trouble because no one expects it, right? Because it's not raining. So, wow.
But, hey, until someone dies, let's keep playing ball. All right, next one comes from one of our former guests and listener. Jay is painting. He sent this out, and this is actually a photo of a toilet that was struck by lightning.
No,
in
sir.
Someone's home.
No. No. That cannot be real.
Yeah.
Oh, my
It went through the vent, so I don't think this photo shows it, but it basically went through a vent in the top of the ceiling that's right above an air vent that's right above the toilet. So it hit the home or the apartment building, whatever it was, traveled through the air duct, and then struck the toilet right below.
Phil, speaking from a guy who does his best thinking on the throne,
oh no,
that could ruin your day very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Are we sure that's not a hotel room after a Texas chase and also burrito?
A little also burrito, yeah.
Little bit of hot sauce on that one.
Oh my God.
Okay, the last one I've got is this was from the Andover, Kansas tornado. Again, you guys may have seen this or not, but this was just someone in their backyard. If you remember, do you remember that the lawnmower man up in Canada that was mowing their lawn? While there's that tornado in the background. This is what this reminds me of. It's a fenced-in yard, and here's the Andover tornado. It's probably maybe 200 yards away at this point, and this guy is filming it until the fence finally starts getting into the inflow. Oh. And finally he decides, okay, maybe I should go inside.
It is crazy. You see the power flash, you see it destroy that shed, and you see a trampoline and the whole fence blow out at once. And it's like, oh my God, run.
And I don't care how good a storm chaser you are, you're never going to get a footage like this guy got from his
Isn't that it's kind of sad, but It's like, what it takes finally to realize I should stop filming and seek safety is when my house starts going.
That's the Twister moment right there where the fence posts start coming out of the ground. Unreal.
Oh, man.
I'm saying, Storm Chasers, you're a little close there.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, hopefully that guy's got a basement. But Phil, those are pretty great. Let's kick it over to Greg. Greg, I understand you have a couple weather fools this week?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know, Brady, whether these are like complete weather fools, but this poor guy right here, this comes from the Weather Channel's Instagram feed, and there's this video. Let me put it into motion here. You're gonna watch this guy. He looks like he's maybe out doing some gardening, and there's a storm close by, and boom! I'm gonna just stop it. Look at that. Listen, it looks like there's a bomb that has gone off in the background, and that's a lightning strike.
It's like a trip mine. I mean, my God.
It's crazy, but he just looks kind of terrified. I don't know if it's a weather fool, but I thought it was a pretty amazing video.
I had this one too, Greg, and what I loved was his lack of a reaction, because if that were me, I would have hit the deck and like screamed like a girl, right? Like, and he just was like, "Woo!" Like shook it off and kept walking. I would have dropped to my knees.
Wow,
I'm saying that toilet may have been looking like after that toilet.
Yeah, maybe that's the same. Maybe that's the same toilet, right?
You know, Eric, that's the thing is if you look at the explosion in the background, and you were to say that was a lightning strike, I mean, it doesn't look like that at all. It does look like a bomb went off.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. So that was my first one. And then this one actually comes from the Crowell, Texas tornado on May 4th. I think we were talking about this day, Eric. But these chasers got a little bit too close, a little bit too involved in the tornado, and their reaction, if you hear the audio, is definitely indicative that they know they got too close. And Phil, you mentioned it. Basically, all of us storm chasers are weather fools at heart, and I think this video, again, from the Weather Channel's Instagram feed, really speaks to that.
Hey, zero metering has gotten really popular all of a sudden. That term, I honestly, I haven't really heard that.
What's zero metering, Phil? What is that?
You're like right almost in the tornado.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Oh, good. Let's have a phrase to make people
before I go storm chasing, I'm gonna tell my mom I'm zero metering. She's probably gonna love that. She's gonna love that. Yeah. But Greg, that I feel like by the time you realize you're too close, it's too late. So glad those guys got it okay. But yeah, definitely weather fools. All right, Serena, I understand. I know Greg may have taken one of yours. I think you have another one though, right?
I do. I've got another one. Greg did take one of mine.
Oh, I saw yours. This one's great.
But this one, the weather fool is the person who chooses to build their house right on the ocean. Like that, my friends, is called a houseboat.
There you go.
So there's been, a low that's been off of the eastern seaboard that's been causing a lot of damage, and so there's in a part of the Carolinas there's been a lot of damage, and so this house went in with a couple others, and it's just don't build that close to the water, please.
Hey, Serena, did you see the follow up from this? The Weather Channel did a story on the blowout tide.
No.
Did you read about that? So on the south side of that low pressure, the wind was blowing off like from the shore out into the water, and so there was this incredible, almost like feels like what happens before a tidal wave when the tide all gets pushed out by the wind on the backside of the low pressure. Pretty cool.
Nice. That's so awesome. That kind of stuff's so fascinating.
Wow. Yeah. You know what? I'm curious to see if there was someone in there, riding that thing like a boat and see how, how far they could take that, right? But that was pretty good. So I'll wrap things up here with my weatherful. It's not a video. I'm just saying, guys, if we wanted to get if we went to the rental car company and said, hey, can we have a car like this? It might be smart when we go chasing, because we either going to get a car that looks like this, or our car is going to look like this after we chase.
What does it look like for our listeners, Brady?
Yeah, so it's a car that literally has, I think that Mythbusters did this, that a car with golf dimples. So it's literally a golf ball, but in a car, right? So it's literally got like these divots, and it would look like, your beat up car after you've had a couple of several hailstorms, right? So I'm thinking maybe we take this puppy out, and that way we can, the insurance can never get us for the hail damage because it's already got indents in it, right? I don't know.
Brady, I think you're the weather fool here.
Yeah,
Brady,
maybe I'm the weather fool.
You can't ride with me in 2 weeks anymore.
Great. No. I'm all for it. But anyway, guys, this has been Weather Fools. If you guys want to see the links to these, go to stormfrontfreaks.com. Look for show 157 in the show notes section.
All right, now it's time for a segment of the show that I've completely forgot the name of, which I'm sure Phil will enlighten us. But
Storm Chasing Games Gone Wild.
Gone Wild, perfect. So here's the deal: is Phil has scoured storm chasing video games to find examples of people doing stupid things in the video games. This is always a fun one. Phil, what do you got for us this
All
week?
right, so this comes from YouTuber Zach Hausnecht. He's playing the Storm Chasers game on Steam, and so there are obviously a couple other storm chasing games currently in production. One of them is Outbreak. There's another one that another company's working on as well. So these are going to be coming out, which might be fun. But this is the main one that's out now that most people you can find on. But Eric, this is perfect because these are going to be examples of what not to do when you're storm chasing. These are certainly some unsafe tactics, but I'm going to play a clip for you guys.
Oh yeah, I got my frames back. Oh, barely.
Oh my God.
So he's driving his truck.
God. Oh, I blew a tire and I rolled my car.
and they're playing with their friends, right?
A flip of you off in the distance.
And then watch this truck that this guy's driving.
What did I hit?
He flips over.
What did I hit?
Yeah. Oh, I hit
and he's just sliding on his hood.
Oh, he's hitting
sliding.
cows like a piece of shit.
What just freaking happened that I just died like that?
I can't get gas here.
Nope.
The tornado is close by. Let's get out of here.
So can I get in somebody's truck?
He's walking so slow.
Can I get in somebody's truck?
So he's trying to find someone else's truck he can get into while a tornado's bearing down on
We
him.
gotta change a tire before he kills us.
My truck's
I
upside
really
down.
don't like that he's driving in a foreign truck.
Get out of the truck.
I'm already out. I'm running.
Run east.
Good point.
Run east.
Too late. I'm
using
already.
power tools.
Is that how much money he has? $5,600? Is that how much damage he's done to his car?
I have no idea. I haven't played this game.
Keep going.
So he's
random
running
person
down
in the road.
middle of the highway, and this tornado's bearing down
I'm so
on him.
dead. I'm so dead.
Are you stuck in your truck?
No, Jeff. I'm coming to your truck.
Oh my God! Don't bring up my
So now he
This
sees.
is This is what happened to me in Tampa.
Oh no!
Wow.
He sees someone else's truck.
Jeff, he's
So
coming
he's like,
for us.
he's trying to
He's
get to
coming
that
right
truck.
for us.
He's like running so slow, and the truck starts taking off
My
on him.
truck is not running so hot right now. Okay.
Could have kept me
Oh my God! He got
alive.
your truck.
He's getting your truck.
He got your truck. I can't see because I'm out of battery. Let's
Yeah.
change the battery out. Damn it!
Jeff, stay for a
Zach,
second.
yeah, there goes your
Save
I have
me.
to live. Okay.
So he's telling his
I
buddy
play
to
these
stop
games.
moving his truck, right? So he
I'm
can
right
get in
here.
the truck. Tornado's still coming.
Zach.
Okay, Jeff, I'm literally right here.
Okay, that's great. I just can't.
Oh my
How do I
God.
get in
Oh,
your
he's
truck?
tired. He can't run
Moving my
anymore.
battery.
Okay,
Isn't
I'm in
that
your
funny?
truck. Oh my God.
Installing the battery.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
So-
What game is that? Is that
So it's called
Outbreak?
Storm Chasers.
Okay.
And it's on Steam. If you're
cool.
a gamer, Steam's a platform that
Yeah.
you can, yeah.
Wow.
So,
That's
people
awesome.
doing just some.
Well, why aren't we playing that, guys? Let's go storm chase. Let's do a simulation to make sure we know what we're doing here.
Brady, we're going to be playing it for real in 2 weeks.
Right.
And-
Right, well, that's
and
the
by
hope.
By the
That's
way,
the
Eric,
hope.
we're taking everything that we've learned tonight and we're going to put it into practice when we're actually out chasing.
Yep.
We are. We're going to
I
be the
agree.
role models.
I agree.
Good. So anyway, you can we'll have a link to that video in the episode 157 show notes. That's at stormfrontfreaks.com. So hey, I think that just about does it for this episode. Thanks for listening or watching. So before I announce our next episode, if you like the show, don't forget to follow the show on your podcast player. so you get notified and you receive the latest episodes of our show delivered right to your library the moment that it gets released. You can find all the podcast player options at stormfrontfreaks.com and help us out. Tell a friend about your favorite episode. If you're a listener and there's been some episodes you like, tell a friend that's also loving weather. Let them know about it as well. We appreciate that. You can also visit stormfrontfreaks.com and find our Patreon link and check out all the ways we can do more with you and how you can also help support the show, whether it's the live access to view and chat during our raw video recordings, exclusive merchandise, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, I am wearing our Chase t-shirts. So our Chase team, everyone's going to get one of these Adidas shirts with the Stormfront.
We get like
Freaks
matching head, tattoos on our foreheads.
We're
maybe
not doing that much.
Like Stormfront Freaks.
I just got t-shirts for everybody. But hey, here's what we're going to do is for all of our EF5 or greater members that get merch, exclusive merch every so often, this is going to be a part of that set of package merch that our EF5 members and above will get. They'll get one of the Chase shirts at some point as well. So you can also be one of our VIPs, which can join us right on the show like we had with Erik tonight, ask questions, all that good stuff during our breaks. I will tell you that's full. Like, we don't have any more room for those right now. But that's one of the options. Now, I don't know when someone might be listening to this, right? Could be 5 years from now and we've got an opening. Who knows?
Could be 100.
I know Dan and Garrett and Angela don't want to give it up. I know that much. But you can also subscribe to our YouTube page. If you've noticed, we've been trying to promote that a little bit. We're going to be streaming our chase on youtube.com/StormfrontFreaks. That's where we also have our Raw shows that we put up about a month after we've done them. You can hear all the great conversations, all that stuff. Again, you can find a link to that at stormfrontfreaks.com. Special thanks to our guest, Erik Fox. Thanks, Erik, for taking the time and sticking with us. We might want to do a part 2 of this whole thing and get you on again and cover the stuff we haven't covered yet, because we just kind of, I think, touched the tip of the iceberg on that. But thanks. Freaks, how can people follow you and find your content, Greg?
Tornado Greg on Instagram and Twitter, and Greg Johnson, Tornado Hunter, on Facebook, Meta, whatever it's called now.
Got it. How about your camera class?
Oh, yeah, cameraeasy.ca to learn how your camera works.
Cool. How about Brady, you?
Yeah, I
And
got
Brad.
Instagram. Yeah, there you
Brad.
go. Oh, yeah. Instagram, at Columbus Weather with Brady, and then TikTok as well. And then Twitter, at Brady Harris WX. And Brad doesn't have an account. So we don't give him a phone. We don't let him use technology. Yeah.
All right, Serena.
Yep, everything is WX Serena with a CY. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok, and I get sassy on TikTok.
Boom.
I'm going to have to do that. We don't have TikTok yet. But hey, you can find me on Twitter right at our Stormfront Freak account, at Stormfront Freak. We also have a Meta or whatever that is account as well, Stormfront Freaks. We have an Instagram account too. I don't put as much time into those ones, but we do have them. So get this, next episode, guys, in 2 weeks, we're going to be recording during our Stormfront Freaks chase. We start that on May 26th. I still don't know what the hell we're going to do or what we're going to record, but I guarantee you we will have opportunities to do something stupid and crazy and entertaining. We will live up to our most entertaining weather podcast name.
And you know what? If nothing else, Phil, maybe we'll just eat and drink. You know, we'll have some good memories with some good people, right?
Right.
You know, if we don't get any weather.
I'm thinking that Greg can help us out with that with his Tornado Hunters series of if you don't see storms, what else do you do and what things can you do? And we'll maybe go to an alligator farm.
We're going to see something, though.
Didn't you do an alligator farm, Greg?
We did, yeah. Alligator rescue.
What?
Oh,
now that's
wow.
different.
Yeah.
So here's the fun part is we can do all that fun stupid stuff, and we don't have to have a TV crew following us, so we can just do it and not worry about what we're doing. So we'll be recording that. It's whether it's going to be available that Sunday or something, I don't know yet. But in 2 weeks, we're going to have some kind of cool storm chase show. So for Greg and Brady and Serena and Erik, I'm going to go ahead and signal the all clear, and we'll catch you guys next time. Good night.
Peace.
Have a good one.
Cool, Eric. Thanks for sticking out. It was a little bit later tonight. Apologize.
Oh, no, I'm good. You're right. I just scratched the surface. I didn't even get into half of the stuff with hurricane stuff. So, I mean, there's a lot there, and I appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, hey, maybe we consider something in the fall.
Right.
And, we just cover hurricane stuff. Try
well,
focus on that.
If you look at the 384 DFS, there's going to be a May hurricane, so it's happening.
Well, maybe our chase turns into hurricane chase instead of
in Louisiana.
Or if it hits Florida, we got base camp somewhere near Fort Myers, so we got that too.
Yeah. You guys end up down here, holler at me. I'll be out chasing too, so I'll stay in touch with you guys out in the field if it's a day that I'm out and you guys are. Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, are you cool? Are you our get out of jail free card?
I can only help you in about a 10 square mile area, buddy.
when I take that bat to those cars that are all huddled under the overpass, I'm going to call. Hey, I know Eric. Just give me my one call. I'm calling Eric.
Serena and I are just going to be driving by. We're just going to wave and just keep on driving. Right?
Well, knowing Greg, he'll be like, "Hey, Eric, I'm in jail. Can you come get me?"
Oh, nice. Okay. That's the kind of guy we got on the show.
I hate to do this, but I actually have to run. So
no, that's cool.
Great show.
It's a late one. So
seeing you again, Eric, and
you too.
We'll see you guys the rest of you in a couple weeks.
It's gonna be awesome.
Perfect.
Cool. All right, I'm out too then, guys. See ya.
Awesome,
Peace out, guys.
Thanks again, guys. Dan, Angela, and Garrett, just so you guys know too, I'm going to be, so again, we're out the 26th through the 31st. So we'll share with you guys kind of where we're at and so if you happen to be out and and we're close, we certainly can hook up and I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I look forward to do that. So I'll figure out best way to do that. And we might be on Zello and maybe I'll just give you our Zello access too, so you can listen into whatever stupid stuff we might be saying as well. But awesome. I'll share that with you. Okay.
Cool deal.
Sounds good.
So in the next couple of weeks, kind of be looking for that.
Yeah. And if I don't see you guys be safe out there.
Yep. You too. You too, guys. You too, Eric. Okay. Be safe.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't get to it, Phil, but I mean, you might just put a post or something. I know there was some tongue-in-cheek stuff tonight, but I mean, I hate to, with the deaths we've had in the last couple of weeks, I'm going to try to do some bullet points and send it to you. But there's some road stuff going on I didn't get to tonight, and I might send you if you don't mind. I mean, I don't want to double hash stuff. It's kind of a touchy subject with me right now because from what I'm understanding, there was some at fault on the first fatality accident, but there wasn't this time. So I just want to clarify some stuff.
I'll tell you what, if you got 5 minutes, let's quick talk about it now and we'll cut it into the show.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're good, I don't want to keep you too late, but if you're good. Yeah, so I'll just come in and ask you a question about some of the recent deaths and your thoughts on that. Okay. All right, so we'll come in 3, 2. All right, Eric. So I know we've had just recently here, as of right now, we're recording May 12th, 2022, but we have had some recent deaths of chasers. Now, of course, they didn't die from the tornado or something like that. But we talked about here during the show is that one of the biggest challenges and dangers of chasing is the amount of time you're on the road. You're just going to increase the chance that there are vehicle accidents and things of that nature. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on some of these recent deaths and your feelings.
Well, it's hard. My feelings are my heart goes out to any fellow enthusiast that we are, right? We have a passion for this. We love what we're doing. We love the weather. There's a human element to this. And even their deaths, unfortunate, is going to affect every chaser in some way. Negative, positive. Maybe they save a life because they remember something that happened to any situation when it involves a chaser. So what I would like to really put on is, we make these decisions, we talk about this stuff, but we do it because we care. We care as a community that we don't want this to happen to people, even if it's an accident or negligence. My heart is huge on helping people. That's why I'm a cop. That's why I do it. So as a community, make sure we are reaching out to each other and lifting each other up, because there has been a lot of death over the last 10 years. It's crazy how much death we've had in this community. So keep reaching out to people. Just remember, if you call somebody's situation out or something they did out, it's not because you're trying to be mean. It's because you care about them. And that's what I want to convey as a law enforcement officer, as a chaser. Just make sure we're doing that when we're constructive about what we're doing. Because of course we have these situations over the last couple of weeks. One might have been an accident that was a single vehicle accident that, it just happens. And the other one is nobody's fault. And so you just never know what chase could go wrong. And so just be there for each other as a community. Keep trying to get better as a community. Be positive, help each other out, and then we'll get there. Just keep trying to work.
Would you agree that certainly talking about it and bringing it up just helps awareness, especially in our chaser community, that it just helps people become aware of it? It's somewhat, we talk about our hashtag WeatherFools segment, and that's a little bit tongue-in-cheek too. We have fun with it, but it's also a way to kind of go, here's what you shouldn't be doing and you got to be careful of and everything else. But would you agree talking about it helps awareness?
It does, because people learn differently, and I learn differently versus what Dan may learn different, or you feel. If you learn by humor, that's okay, as long as you take what is going on in that segment. Oh, why are you standing outside during lightning? But you use somebody else's humor in that situation, that's fine. But it's a fine line of when somebody gets hurt and having to learn from tragedy. And that's where we've got to figure that out as a community. Can we take somebody's situation that was negative and turn it to a positive as a community, as a human life, as human beings in this lovely nature-filled stuff we do when it comes to tornadoes, hurricanes, snow, whatever your passion is in weather. We've got to continue to do that, and then take these deaths and harness them, their lives, their friends, bring them into that community, be positive about it, and take their situation and try to help and try to make it a better situation for somebody else. That's what I would want for me if something happens to me, is take whatever happens to me and try to make it positive, because you only have one life. And if you're doing it, if you lose your life doing what you love, then there should never be any questions about what you're doing, as long as you're doing it ethically. And as a law enforcement officer, that's all I can ask for, is do it ethically, because it's not just your life out there.
So outside the chaser community, any thoughts on sometimes how these deaths or sometimes injuries are portrayed in the general public from media, who a lot of times it's reported a storm chaser dies and maybe don't get into the details, and people just will think, oh, they're chasing a storm and they got too close to the tornado or whatever, when that obviously wasn't the case here recently.
Media is going to be media. I'm a member of the media and I hate it. I do it to try to be positive, to try to help people, but the media is going to always spin any situation into ratings. They're going to take half the truth and try to make it to what they want for ratings. And so, I say that just be careful what you say on social media, because media is always paying attention to us, because we're on Twitter. They're looking for those photos. They're looking for that video to take from you. That's a whole other topic. But, when you post something, they're going to automatically take you and what you post and what you say and put it into a uniform of all storm chasers. So you're almost wearing a uniform for the entire community when you post something or you say something to the media. And so, when we do something stupid or we have a tragic accident and somebody gets killed, that affects all of us in the media. That affects all of us as storm chasers. It affects that officer making that traffic stop on that storm chaser, because he thinks, oh, you're going to go down the road and kill somebody. And unfortunately, you just got to remember that when you're out there, because that's a hurdle we have as a community right now that we're doing to ourselves, and it's based on selfishness. Miss the storm, get the next one.
Got it. Good. All right, you feel good about that?
Yeah, no, that was good.
We'll definitely plug that in then.
I was a little uneasy about that video with the truck rolling over, considering what happened yesterday. I was like, I know it was all fun and good. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh no. I was like, oh no. That's all. That's just me. That's just me.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. So
Good. Very good. All right. Appreciate it, everybody. Thanks
All right.
again. And Eric, we'll edit this and again we'll probably post it Sunday, but I'll share you or tag you on social media or something so you know.
I appreciate it, man. And I appreciate you doing this. It's